musicians and Mancaves. How do? Welcome to the podcast Musicians and Mancaves with Chris, Tom, Alex and me, Paul, otherwise known as Nottingham band Dread of Monkey. As the band is nearing its 10th anniversary, we decided we should do something completely different, talking crap for a change. We spend a third of our rehearsal each week talking anyway, so we thought, why not stick a mic in front of us and have a laugh? And all the ideas floating around in our four little hairy heads, and let's see where it takes us. So the idea is to pick 3 topics each week and ramble on. So sit back and relax. Welcome and enjoy Musicians and Mancaves. Are certain professions paid too much? So I think we're talking possibly sportsmen, politicians, sports peoples.
I hate this PC crap.
Well, yeah.
If you think about it, female sports people probably aren't paid as much as men.
Nowhere near. Not even close.
Only in tennis, I think, in the major tournaments. But yeah, generally
So by saying
not.
sportsmen, you're probably more accurate. Apart from tennis.
I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
maybe, yeah.
obviously the
Maybe
big
you're
stars like footballers, American footballers, are paid huge amounts for the big clubs. But do they deserve? I can't speak. I've had too much wrong. Do they deserve the salary? And what are the thoughts on the whole thing? Are sports people paid way too much?
Well, yeah, in the real world, they are.
In the real world, yeah, they're not everyday Joe, are they? So
No.
There must be a lot of work, keeping
is
fit,
it just jealousy though?
practicing, probably.
I don't think it's jealousy. I think it's moralistic things.
Kicking a bag of wind around, is it?
Yeah, it's like
being worth 500 million.
you know, people who clean for a living, or people who, or nurses or doctors.
Well, yeah.
You know, you
That's
see
always been a
people
sticking
that
point.
say
16-hour shifts they're doing or whatever, and crazy hours.
They
And
make 26 grand a year. Someone kicks
Yeah.
a football about and they make £1 million a day.
some footballers are making 26 grand a day, more than that now.
Yeah,
So
500,000 a
soccer,
week.
soccer, football, English football. So
Yeah.
it's not right, is it? Really, let's be fair. But
No.
it's big business. It's when the TV companies got involved really in the early 90s with English football, and then the money just went through the roof from there.
Who was the first
Escalated.
£1 million player? The guy for Forest? What was it?
Trevor Francis.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest, yeah.
First
That was in
£1
the
million
late
player.
70s, so it was all, I suppose, yeah.
But I mean, these big clubs like Italy and. But you'll have to. I'm not into
Barcelona.
football, but Barcelona, all them big Real Madrid, is it? And all
Madrid,
them all
Barcelona, Man
pay
United.
huge amounts, aren't they?
Crazy, like £400,000 a week for a player.
Isn't Ronaldo? Is he still the highest paid now?
I don't know if he is. He's just moved, so he may well be.
I think he is the highest paid, but
I don't know.
I do know that he gives millions and millions and millions and millions away to charity.
Does
A
it?
lot then.
Oh, millions, mate.
Well, that's great if that's
It
the
is.
case.
I mean, I don't get me wrong. Up until I did some reading on him and actually learnt a bit about him, I hated him. I always remembered his wink in the World Cup when he got knocked out. I've never forgotten that, and I don't even like football. But after reading about some of the stuff he's done, and some of the charities, because I went to his home island not too long ago on holiday. I forgot what it's called now, Madeira. I went there. That's where he was born. I did some reading on him, and he's actually a really interesting character. But
I think a lot of it's persona on TV and what the media want
Yeah.
to see into it. But
I don't know. There's another argument. There's another side to it. If you're a player and you see how much not the clubs are earning so much, but how much the TV companies are earning, which is millions and millions and millions, crazy
sponsorships
amounts.
and things. Yeah,
Then
huge
the player
amounts.
might think, well, I should get my fair share of that. We're the star of the show. We're the ones that, because like Tom just said earlier, they do have to be at the top of any profession, any game. You've got to really dedicate yourself.
Yeah,
you might think
whole life.
like the layman might think Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo. He looks like he's just high paid guy who doesn't care about anything and what. Yeah,
It's a lifestyle, though, isn't it?
but that guy, you've got to admire in a way that for 10
drive.
years he's been like one of the best players. Some of those years, the best player on the planet.
Yeah.
Him and Messi and whoever. What to have that amount of commitment and drive? You're a millionaire like 8 years ago. You could just jack it in.
You just won't get up, would you? You just say,
Yeah.
I'll have a day off today.
Yeah, but he's
Go and get your beans
kept
on
himself
toast.
at the top. and super fit, and he does perform. You know, on the big moments, he does perform. He scores the goals.
But
On
yeah,
the
I
big
mean, it
moments.
don't last
and
forever.
and he's
does it?
still hammers
33 or
everyone.
whatever he is, 34. So
Even to get to that level, being a kid, he probably
Yeah.
played for clubs and went for tryouts and things.
yeah, oh yeah, it's really
Quite,
difficult.
isn't it?
Most of the kids just don't get. I think it's 90% of young kids that get taken on at big clubs, academies. So, but when they hit like 16,
Yeah.
98% of them get released. Apparently,
And
At that
it's a
age,
bit later,
so
isn't it? I think.
might be a bit later than
About
that,
18 or 19.
Maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
like
I know a
most
couple
of
of
them.
people who played for academies and they got dropped.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
I think
you
it's
know,
only like 1% that get through or something.
Yeah.
Really, really small. Yeah.
the money should filter down to the lower clubs more, maybe a bit more. So
I think
smaller
it's
clubs,
it's
but-
a bit like in most type jobs, like difference between a manager getting paid and a cleaner getting paid or whatever. It's the problem is the gap's huge. Like
Yeah.
between poor and rich, isn't
That's
it? It's
the
a
problem.
massive gap.
it's the gap. Yeah.
I mean, politicians. I mean, should their pay be capped? That's another one of us.
110%.
Yeah, go on, Alex. You rant on this because I know you're gonna.
I'm not going to rant. It's just one of those things where I totally understand. I totally understand that, you know, what they do is important. They're running the country. They're doing a job that I can't do. But at the same time, you know, there's some of them who are making, you know, hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. Now, some of you probably listening thinking, oh yeah, well Simon Cowell makes X amount of millionaire cheers. Yeah, no, I understand that. But, you know, these people, you know, they don't need to be on 300 grand a year. I mean, you can live comfortably. I don't care what anyone says on 50. You can live very comfortably on 50. So you don't need 300 grand. But and then you got them claiming expenses on things like tea bags.
That's the worst,
I mean,
isn't
for
it?
Christ's sake. I mean, I've just started running a business. I'm going to claim expenses on stuff that's actually business related, such as petrol. You know, things that get me about. You know, tools. I'm not going to claim on tea bags, elastic bands, and porn subscriptions like some of them try and do. You know, so I definitely believe there should be a cap. I'm not saying
Maybe you should claim on the porn subscriptions. You could do that.
I'll make a fortune back.
Sorry,
How could you write that off as a business expense?
yeah, maybe you couldn't get away with that.
What would you put it under?
I might have to set up another company.
Research.
Research into developing products.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm good at
Sorted.
this.
But
Automated sex machines and stuff.
We're going off
Analyse the
topic.
joints. And
They'll need some welding doing, won't they?
We're going off topic. a
But
bit,
yeah, don't get me wrong, totally. There should be some form of pay cap. You know, I'm not saying they should be on 25 grand a year, you know, but you know, the senior ones maybe 120, you know, 150 to push, mid ones.
I mean,
60.
I mean, I know you've talked about this about your dad and your wages and stuff like that. And when
Yeah.
they get to a certain tax bracket, it's huge. I mean, how much they get?
Yeah.
50% tax or whatever.
If
So
I remember my
is it as
brother-
good as they make out? You know, having these massive wages.
Yeah, but of course, they all find their little shuffle holes, don't they?
Oh, I suppose there's always a loop.
Yeah, of course there is.
Loophole.
But yeah, from what I understand is the tax bracket when you go over about, I think it's about 50, is it 48 grand or 55 grand, somewhere around there, you go up to 40% tax, and then over 150, I think it's 50%. But, I don't know,
is
Sorry.
that right? Though? I mean, that's another question. I personally don't. I'm not sure I agree with that. Like super tax, and when you hit a certain amount, then suddenly you're going for what 22% tax or whatever we pay,
Yeah.
because we don't earn great amounts, and then you've done well for yourself.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, I totally
all
agree
right,
with
you might not. Maybe you shouldn't get paid that much money. Maybe you shouldn't get 60 grand a year when the nurses only get 26. Fair point, but you've earned that, right?
But I
You've
mean-
got to that point. I mean, then you suddenly get 40% of it
I
taken
mean,
off.
as
you.
I said before, I have worked in a doctor's and I have seen the wages that's
Right.
come through. I can't say too many details of how I found this out, but some of the locums, so that's like a doctor that's self-employed, goes around or any surgery, just gets work wherever he can. And he gets asked to come in and he's getting £110 an hour. And that's a ridiculous amount. When you start working out, they do, in doctor surgeries, they do like blocks. So they do like maybe 13 sessions in a morning. So that's like, I think it worked out about 3.5, 4 hours. So in that morning, you and I probably have to work, a couple of weeks to get 450 quid. In one morning, from saying, here, have a paracetamol. Next.
They've
they're
earned
getting
like 500
450
quid probably.
Exactly.
In 4 hours.
So
or
they're not a salaried doctor. So It's a ridiculous amount of money.
It is.
And my point being is that's general practice. Now, the surgeons who are saving people's lives, I had a shoulder operation. I had keyhole surgery on my shoulder to have it all cleaned out. And the surgeons there, they're earning £120,000 a year or whatever. But, I mean, obviously this is guesswork on the figures, but what's the difference? I mean, from general practice, they're earning 120 grand a year to a surgeon saving somebody's life.
The actual salary for a surgeon in the UK starts at 76,000, rising to 103,000, depending on length of service.
You know what I mean?
I don't think they're actually on that much. I know because I knew a bloke who used to be. He was a theatre technician.
Yeah.
And
that's slightly different to a
I
surgeon.
know, but he was still assisting and saving people's lives. So anyone doing that kind of job, really should be pretty well compensated for.
Yeah.
I think he was on about 28 grand.
Yeah,
which, to be fair, in a hell of a lot more than I made.
You'd think,
just
is it
welding.
worth
Yeah.
the extra hassle sort of thing? But
I don't agree with the tax thing though. Personally, that's just
No,
I
I think
know
you're
there's
right.
a lot of revenue generated from it,
yeah.
but a percentage is a percentage. So if you're getting 20% tax, then why should someone who's earning more money?
So Tom's
a guy-
using the friendly Google. Have we figured some figures out? Go on, you speak. I've had too much rum. I can't speak anymore.
Don't know how accurate it is, but it says the maximum a surgeon could earn is 103,000.
So we're talking £100,000 a year plus. Yeah.
Personally, if I'm a surgeon though, and I've trained for however many years,
It's about 15 years, I think.
yeah. I mean,
It's a long
7
time.
years for a general practitioner, probably something like that.
Yeah.
Training, so a surgeon a lot more.
That's just for general practice mainly as well.
I mean, maybe I think that maybe they deserve that kind of money. Personally,
Yeah, totally.
Definitely.
5
I mean,
years for a general practitioner, 6
5 years,
with
yeah.
specialist training.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's all different gradings and things.
I don't
to
know.
it, but-
Personally, I don't begrudge them earning that kind of money. By the same token, some guy who's cleaning the toilets at IKEA every day,
Yeah.
or wherever, I think that guy should be on a bit more money. Personally, doing that, which is, let's
a
face
job
it, it's
I
not
wouldn't
a very nice job, is it? Really,
Well, I always thought
they
that
should be on a bit more.
physical jobs should be earning more money. Like anybody that's doing a kind of physical role, like I don't know, sweeping the street or whatever, should be earning more than somebody that's pushing paper around.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
I've
'cause
actually
you're
had this
exerting.
argument with my dad, because obviously me and my dad are like chalk and cheese in terms of the world of work. My dad's, you're not going to like it, people, but he's an office monkey. He's a desk jockey. That's what he does. Now, he's got a pretty high position. He had a very high position before that, and he is mentally drained all the time. Whereas I'm a fabricator welder. I hump steel about all day. I'm
Physically
knackered. It's
Yeah,
two
so
different
there's a big
kinds of
difference.
tiring.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
working in an office, working in customer service, or like say I was on the reception at doctors or supervisor, blah blah blah. But doing that, being shouted at all day, is mentally draining. Every single day, getting shouted at is just like mental abuse. It really is, and then that's the same
It's
sort
not
of
like you
thing.
can jump over your desk and stamp on the letters, because I'd want to do that.
No, you might get sacked for that.
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, some of the time you felt like you're trying to help somebody and
And they're just screaming at you.
screaming at you. I mean, should the minimum wage be different for different age ranges? I mean, you brought this up, didn't you, earlier on, Chris?
Alex.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Was it
Alex. I think.
Yeah. And
Explain.
right, so
I need a wee.
I'm 26, so I'm just over the threshold where basically I'm entitled to a full adult minimum wage, which is what is it about? Not what is it? £8.30 or something.
£8.20.
Yeah.
Tom,
This is
Google
it.
it.
Yeah.
We'll Google it. So
Yeah.
£8.20ish, I don't know, something like that. But then if you're less than 25, bearing in mind you can move out at 16, so you can still have the same adult responsibility as someone who's 25.
You can legally drink at 18. You
Yeah,
can buy a
exactly.
house probably at 18.
Yeah, you can
I
buy a
assume.
house at 16 if you can afford
Can you?
one. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
According to this, £7.38,
See, that's a joke.
What, for 25?
24 and upwards, yeah.
Yeah,
24.
Wow.
yeah, or 24.
So
sorry.
below 24, it's going to be a lower.
Yeah,
minimum
it's
wage.
what is it, about £6 something?
18 to 20 is £5.90.
You are joking me.
That is cabbage.
16 to 17 is £4.20.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
But it does make sense, because what does a 16-year-old have to pay? They're probably not paying
Yeah, they're probably still at home.
a
Not
mortgage,
judging
not paying
everybody,
car
but
insurance.
I remember doing a job when I was working in a shop for 50p an hour at the age of 15.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was like a million years ago, but I'm not that old. But
is it fair though, just because someone's older,
for the wheel, sure.
if they can't do any better,
It was square then.
that they get paid more? Because I know if I was 18 working with someone who was say 30 and they were no better at a job than me, I'd be sat there going, hang on, why are you on £2 an hour more than me? What can you do? In fact, if anything, it's I'd be better at it because I'm younger, which means I've got more chance of being trained.
And what winds me up is wherever you work, I mean, I'm not going to say where we work, but wherever you work, there's no like written down wages for what people are on. If you get me.
That gets me.
It's not.
That gets me. So you don't know the person next to you what they're earning, doing exactly the same job as you're doing, regardless
£3
of
an
how
hour
long.
more than you.
Yeah, they could be on more money than you. I mean,
Yeah.
what's that all about?
Sometimes you feel like it's a
Job's a job.
The problem with that is, it, like you say, it creates a bit of a like them and us on the shop floor.
Definitely.
For us that work in like a factory environment, engineering environment,
Yeah.
and people are thinking, well, what's that guy on? And then there's rumours flying about that section
Yeah,
get
yeah.
more than us.
Oh,
Why do
they're
they
on
get more than us? They're not even
£50 an
trained.
hour doing
They're
that.
not even skilled or whatever. You get all these things going on.
And then you get the new guy coming. Hang on, why has he started on 50p more than me? I've been here 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I've
yeah.
seen all that.
That
So
winds me
it
up.
creates rumours and argument.
Definitely.
Is there an argument for the same wage for everybody, no matter what you do?
I think
Oh, I think what on the job? You mean
That's a pretty
different jobs?
different job.
Everybody getting the same wage?
no,
that
because
wouldn't work.
I'm telling you now, I wouldn't
There's-
get out
there's-
of bed
I've
for the
just-
same money as someone sweeping up if I've got to get up and weld and fabricate and do a relatively skilled job.
I mean,
Someone
I
just
don't know if
sweeping.
you saw that.
True. You've trained through.
I've
You've got an
trained.
apprenticeship, same
Yeah.
as me. Trained for it.
Exactly, you've earned it. I don't know if you saw the program. I can't remember what it was called, like Inside the Factory or something that was on telly recently.
Yeah.
We're talking summer 2018. There was people going through like women working in a factory, and it was before the factories were given wage rises and all that crap. But they started in like 1960s. It started on like the women were on less than the blokes, and then they worked. I think it was like 1980s when it changed, when they finally got the same sort of, for the semi-skilled workers, got the same sort of wage that the bloke was getting. The bloke was doing exactly the same job next to him, but they were earning whatever it was more.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's all that as well. So you know, I mean, there's the women and the blokes argument, isn't
There's
there?
still
now,
that
remember?
argument, isn't there, about sports people
Yeah.
as well, and celebrities and stuff like that. That women,
Yeah.
well, in any walk of life, that they don't get as
I mean,
much money.
if somebody's doing the same job, why do they get paid less regardless
That's
of
just
what they are?
completely wrong.
Just a load of
I do
rubbish,
believe
It's
that
completely
there
wrong.
is an argument that in some sectors, you know, feminists shoot me down all you like, I couldn't be a monkeys, but there's a certain point where, you know, I'm not bothered what anyone says. A woman will really struggle to do what I was doing on a daily basis, picking up big physically.
Nah, but the difference I'm saying is
Physically,
for
yeah.
doing
Yeah.
the same job.
Oh yeah, if you're doing exactly the
That's
same job,
different.
of course.
But it's
there are
not
certain
about the
sectors
woman
where
if
they
they can-
can't cover what we can cover.
Yeah, we're not
If that makes
talking about
sense.
a woman doing the same job as a man. That's a completely different
Right.
issue. It's the actually getting paid for the same work.
I think what's happening, possibly, and has happened for a long, long time in some countries, is that they know that chances are most women will probably go off on maternity leave at some stage in their life.
Mm.
Not all women, of course, but some will.
Well, blokes
So
can't.
is that why they've tried to keep the wages down? Because they have to pay them when they're off work.
I never thought about that, you know.
So that's an argument. I know in some European countries, in Scandinavian countries, it's a lot better for
but-
women and families.
A man
But-
produces the baby for the woman.
Yeah, but the man sort of goes back to
Go
work
away.
generally, doesn't he? Or
Yeah.
has to. We only get, 2 weeks paternity
But-
leave in this country.
Yeah,
You
I
have to
think,
go back to work quicker.
I think the issue is the maternity pay then, and the paternity pay
Maybe
is
yeah.
what you're talking about, rather than the actual wage.
Yeah, I mean, wage should be equal.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
I
I'm
think most
talking
people
about.
would
Yeah.
say that.
I think there's
Same
another
job.
thing you can integrate into this particular topic as well is how stagnant wages have been in relation to the cost
To
of
the living
I was
wage,
actually
yeah.
looking on a welding forum from about 2003. Now, bearing in mind that's 15 years ago, and the guys were averaging more than I was on.
Now,
Nah, what you're on now.
Yeah.
Well, I was on 10.50 at my old place. And those guys, all of them on this welding forum, say 15 years ago, were on between 11.50 and 13.50. 15 years ago. Bearing in mind, back then my house was worth, 28 grand.
yeah, big
Now
difference.
it's
yeah.
worth nearly 80.
That's the rise with living. Is it called the living wages.
That's it. So we're slowly getting, we're just getting poorer and poorer and poorer because everything's going down. Wages are going there. Obviously, they can't see my hand gestures, but
I know it's a slightly different topic, but I think people are borrowing more money as well.
oh yeah,
So I mean, there's no security in any job, and I don't think there has been for a whole number of years. But I think people are borrowing a hell of a lot more money than they used to as well.
It's the culture now. Mobile phone contracts.
yeah.
It's just essentially a loan, isn't it? For a
Yeah,
couple of years.
you just
Cars.
do it for 2 years.
Cars
You
and
pay
cars.
your-
People have new cars.
Everyone leases a car now.
Yeah.
It's so easy. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
But the amazing thing is, this is what I don't grasp, is basically because I don't have a credit card, so I've never had to borrow any money. My credit score's atrocious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because I've
I
never
never
borrowed
understood
any
that
money,
fact.
Despite the fact that you've got a mortgage and
I've
you've
got a
you've
mortgage
not,
and a house
you've
and lots
paid
of other
that.
things. I've never missed a payment
And
or anything.
insurances and
Oh yeah, of course. But because I've never had to say, do you know what? I want a credit card. I'm going to be irresponsible and spend $5,000 on crap, and now I'm going to have to pay back $6,500. You're a good lender. We'll lend you more money so we can make more money from you.
Yeah, exactly.
Arseholes.
yeah.
That's all I'll say on
I
it.
agree with that.
Yeah. I think we're going to be talking into the night. That's right. But we're going to wrap up this podcast, I think, tonight. So, good night then. Well, that's another one done. That's podcast 4. Next week is podcast 5. Relationships, the way a man thinks it works. Now that'll be interesting. See what Alex has to say about that one. But for now, if you can subscribe, send us a message or a comment at the bottom. We're on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. So if you can just jump on there and let us know what you think. We'll try and keep these going as long as possible. We've got about another 50 topics to get through. So as and when we'll get these done, I have no idea. We'll just keep going and see what happens. So we appreciate you listening, guys. We'll see you soon. Well, that's this week's episode of Musicians and Mancaves done. So please share this podcast with your friends and family. Without you guys, we cannot keep putting these out. So a bit of support, a quick thumbs up, or a little comment at the bottom. That will really help us so we can put some more of these out each week. So you can subscribe on our YouTube channel. This will also give you the heads up of when the next episode is coming out. Or you can check us out on Facebook. In fact, the YouTube channel is Dreaded Monkey UK. Facebook channel is Dreaded Monkey Music. And the Instagram page is at dreaded_monkey_official. So that's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, the usual. We've had an absolute blast doing this, so it's been great fun and a big learning curve, so we look forward to doing lots more in the future for you. So one last thing, we are hoping to get these out on the big podcast forums or whatever you want to call them. That's iTunes, Podbean, places like that. All links will go on our social media pages in the upcoming episodes. So, well, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Toodaloo!